Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashodanandana Bhajaranjana Yashodanandana Bhajaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, text 28-29. It has a common purport for both the verses. Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakha, Vasudeva Parayoga, वासुदेव परम प्रिया वासुदेव परम ज्ञानम वासुदेव परम तपः वासुदेव परो धर्मो वासुदेव परागतिः वासुदेव परा वेदा वासुदेव परामखा वासुदेव परा योगा वासुदेव परा क्रिया वासुदेव परम ज्ञानम वासुदेव परम तपः वासुदेव परो धर्मो वासुदेव परागतिः वासुदेव परा वेदा वासुदेव परामखा वासुदेव परा योगा वासुदेव परा क्रिया वासुदेव परम ज्ञानम वासुदेव परम तपः वासुदेव परो धर्मो वासुदेव परागतिः Three devotees inside. वासुदेव परा वेदा वासुदेव परामखा वासुदेव परा योगा वासुदेव परा क्रिया वासुदेव परम ज्ञानम वासुदेव परम तपः वासुदेव परो धर्मो वासुदेव परागतिः वासुदेव परा वेदा वासुदेव परामखा वासुदेव परा योगा वासुदेव परा क्रिया वासुदेव परम ज्ञानम वासुदेव परम तपः वासुदेव परो धर्मो वासुदेव परागतिः वासुदेव परा वेदा वासुदेव परामखा वासुदेव परा योगा वासुदेव परा क्रिया वासुदेव परम ज्ञानम वासुदेव परम तपः वासुदेव परो धर्मो वासुदेव परागतिः Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki what word meaning? Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Para, ultimate goal. Veda, revealed scriptures. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Para, for worshipping. Mukha, sacrifices. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Para, the meaning of attaining, the means of attaining. Yoga, mystic paraphernalia. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Para, under his control. Priya, operative activities. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Param, the supreme. Jnanam, knowledge. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Param, best. Tapaha, austerity. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Paraha, superior quality. Dharmaha, religion. Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. Para, ultimate. Gati, goal of life. Translation. In the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please Him Yoga is for realizing Him. All fruitive activities are ultimately divided by Him only. He is the supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know Him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto Him. He is the supreme goal of life. Purport: that Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, is the only object of worship is confirmed in these two slokas. In the Vedic literature, there is the same objective: establishing one's relationship, and ultimately reviving our lost loving service unto Him. That is the sum and substance of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita, the same theory is confirmed by the Lord in His own words. The ultimate purpose of the Vedas is to know Him only. All the revealed scriptures are prepared by the Lord through His incarnation in the body of Srila Vyasadeva just to remind the fallen souls conditioned by material nature of Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. No demigod can award freedom from material bondage. That is the verdict of all the Vedic literatures. Impersonalists who have no information of the personality of Godhead minimize the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord and put him on equal footing with all other living beings. And for this act, such impersonalists get freedom from material bondage only with great difficulty. They can surrender unto him only after many, many births in the culture of transcendental knowledge. One may argue that the Vedic activities are based on sacrificial ceremonies. That is true, but all such sacrifices are also meant for realizing the truth about Vasudeva. Another name of Vasudeva is Yajna, sacrifice. And in the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that all sacrifices and activities are to be conducted for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Yajna, the personality of Godhead. This is the case also with the yoga systems. Yoga means to get into touch with the Supreme Lord. The process, however, includes several bodily features such as asana, dhyan, pranayama, and meditation, and all of them are meant for concentrating upon the localized aspect of Vasudeva, represented as Paramatma. Paramatma realization is but partial realization of Vasudeva, and if one is successful in that attempt, one realizes Vasudeva in full. But by ill luck, most yogis are stranded by the powers of mysticism achieved through the bodily process. Ill fated yogis are given a chance in the next birth by being placed in the families of good learned brahmanas or in the families of rich merchants in order to execute the unfinished task of Vasudeva realization. If such fortunate brahmanas and sons of rich men properly utilize the chance, they can easily realize Vasudeva by good association with saintly persons. Unfortunately, such preferred persons are captivated again by material wealth and honor, and thus they practically forget the aim of life. This is also so for the culture of knowledge. According to Bhagavad Gita, there are 18 items in culturing knowledge. By such culture of knowledge, one becomes gradually prideless, devoid of vanity, non-violent, forbearing, simple, devoted to the great spiritual master, and self-controlled. By culture of knowledge, one becomes unattached to earth and home and becomes conscious of miseries due to death, birth, old age, and disease. And all culture of knowledge culminates in devotional service to the personality of Godhead Vasudeva. Therefore, Vasudeva is the ultimate aim in culturing all different branches of knowledge. Culture of knowledge leading one to the transcendental plane of meeting Vasudev is real knowledge. Physical knowledge in its various branches is condemned in the Bhagavad Gita as ajnana or the opposite of real knowledge. The ultimate aim of physical knowledge is to satisfy the senses, which means prolongation in the term of material existence, and thereby continuance of the threefold miseries. So, prolonging the miserable life of material existence is nescience, but the same physical knowledge leading to the way of spiritual understanding helps one to end the miserable life of physical existence and to begin the life of spiritual existence on the plane of Vasudeva. The same applies to all kinds of austerities. Tapasya means voluntary acceptance of bodily pains to achieve some higher end of life. Ravana and Hiranyakashipu underwent a severe type of bodily torture to achieve the end of sense gratification. To achieve the end of sense gratification. Sometimes modern politicians also undergo severe types of austerities to achieve some political end. This is not actually tapasya. One should accept voluntary bodily inconvenience for the sake of knowing Vasudev because that is the way of real austerities. Otherwise, all forms of austerities are classified as modes of passion and ignorance. Passion and ignorance cannot end the miseries of life. Only the mode of goodness can mitigate the threefold miseries of life. What are the threefold miseries of life? आध्यात्मिक आदि भौतिक आदि दैविक. Vasudeva and Devaki are the so-called father and mother of Lord Krishna underwent penances to get Vasudeva as their son. Lord Sri Krishna is the father of all living beings. Therefore, he is the original living being of all other living beings. He is the original eternal enjoyer among all other enjoyers. Therefore, no one can be his begetting father, as the ignorant may think. Lord Sri Krishna agreed to become the son of Vasudeva and Devaki upon being pleased with their severe austerities. Therefore, if any austerities have to be done, they must be done to achieve the end of knowledge. Vasudeva. Vasudeva is the original personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. As explained before, the original personality of Godhead expands himself by innumerable forms. Such expansions of forms is made possible by his various energies. His energies are also multifarious, and his internal energies are superior and external energies inferior in quality. They are explained in the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, 4th to 6th verse, as the para and the apara prakritis. So, his expansions of various forms which take place via the internal energies are superior forms, whereas the expansions which take place via external energies are inferior forms. The living entities are also his expansions. The living entities who are expanded by his internal potency are eternally liberated persons, whereas those who are expanded in terms of the material energies are eternally conditioned souls. Therefore, all culture of knowledge, austerities, sacrifice, and activities should be aimed at changing the quality of influence that is acting upon us. For the present, we are all being controlled by the external energy of the Lord, and just to change the quality of the influence, we must endeavor to cultivate spiritual energy. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that those who are Mahatmas or those whose minds have been so broadened as to be engaged in the service of the Lord Krishna are under the influence of internal potency, and the effect is that such broad-minded living beings are constantly engaged in the service of the Lord without deviation. That should be the aim of life, and that is the verdict of all the Vedic literatures. No one should bother himself with fruitive activities or dry speculation about transcendental knowledge. Everyone should at once engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Nor should one worship different demigods who work as different hands of the Lord for creation, maintenance, or destruction of the material world. There are innumerable powerful demigods who look over the external management of the material world. They are all different assisting hands of Lord Vasudeva. Even Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are included in the list of demigods. But Lord Vishnu or Vasudeva is always transcendentally situated. Even though he accepts the quality of goodness of the material world, he is still transcendental to all the material modes. The following example will clear that matter more explicitly. In the prison house, there are prisoners and the managers of the prison house. Both the managers and the prisoners are bound by the laws of the king. But even though the king sometimes comes in the prison, he is not bound by the laws of the prison house. The king is therefore always transcendental to the laws of the prison house, as the Lord is always transcendental to the laws of material world. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सर्वनरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सर्वनललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुसे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रा सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Please bless me so that I can speak something today on this topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, long purports are very shelter giving and also nourishing. I was almost like reading book more than a class. It was appearing it is a book reading session. When we read Prabhupada's books for with proper intensity for long hours, at least half an hour, 15 minutes also, without deviation, with concentration, and really the soul, we feel satisfied at heart. Such a beautiful purport or words Srila Prabhupada has given us. Should, this is like a cosmic contribution for the coming yugas. One devotee was telling me that Prabhupada's books must be relished by the demigods also, the way he has written. Probably the devatas also may be changing their forms and coming just to participate in reading Prabhupada's books. He has given information that even demigods are aspiring to know. So such beautiful details, spiritual standards, practices, and so many ways he has explained about Lord. So, and this type of feeling is not a sentimental feeling. It's genuine glorification of the founder Acharya. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai. This verse is in continuation of the previous verse. So first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is more or less an introduction for the Sukhdev Goswami's Bhagavatam being spoken to Harshit Maharaj. And in the introduction, all the main things are set properly. As in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains in Adi Lila first chapter, there are three types of Mangalacharan, which is basically another type of introduction. Vastu Nirdesh, Asirvad, Namaskarika, Asirvadatmika, Vastu Nirdesh. The object of the introduction, or what is going to be the thing in that subject matter, then Phalashruti or sometimes Asirvad, what benefit one will get if they read this subject matter, and paying obeisances to the spiritual masters. So similarly, in Tattva Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami writes that introduction to be valid has to have four things: the Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojan, and Adhikari. Sambandha means relationship, Abhideya means the process to awaken the relationship, and Prayojan means Prayojan, the goal. And after giving these three things, the introduction should also include adhikari, who is qualified for this subject matter and who is not qualified. So we see dharma projito kaitavatra, third verse, second verse only establishes who is adhikari. This is someone who is interested for kaitav dharma. This book is not for them, and for whom it is aho muhurav rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Those who are rasika, or they want to relish transcendental taste. Srimad Bhagavatam is for such personalities. And what is the Vastu Nirdesh subject matter? Today's verse. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Gati, Vasudeva para Makha, Vasudeva para Kriya. Ved, Makha, Yoga, Kriya, Jnana, Tapa, Dharma, Gati. 8 things Vasudeva has been connected to. That he is the para in all these 8 things. And interestingly, these 8 things are the ways everybody interacts with this world. People are seeking Veda knowledge, and they are trying for that in various ways. Sometimes through science, sometimes through Vedas, and sometimes through anything in between. It can be unscientific also, non-Vedic also. So some or other people are, so ignorance, passion. You can say ignorance means not even scientific, not even Vedic. Passion means it appears scientific. Goodness means it is from Vedas. So people are trying for getting knowledge. Then Makha, they are doing sacrifices. That is also another type of interaction with this world. Yoga, people are trying to connect, and there are various ways yoga is explained in different fields. In scriptures, there are Ashtanga yoga. In the 5th chapter, yagyas were described. So Shravan is told as yagya. So yagya, yoga. So there are various types of these words have meanings which are all expanding. They are not limited to one aspect. That means sacrifice doesn't just mean fire sacrifice. Sacrifice means even our activity, day-to-day life can be sacrifice. When we were doing firewood cooking, one devotee said that even this is also a kind of sacrifice when we are lighting the fire and we are cooking. When we are hearing, the ears are receiving transcendental sound vibration. So it is also like a kunda, and the holy sound vibration is that element that is entering the fire. So in this way, in various ways, this has been explained. Veda, Makha, Yoga. Kriya means fruitive activities. Gyan, knowledge. Ved and Gyan, the difference is Ved, Prabhupada is referring to scriptures, and Gyan means overall body of knowledge. Tapa means austerity. People who want to achieve anything, whether material or spiritual, they do some tapasya, austerities. Dharma, religious activities. People They have different types of religious beliefs, practices, and gatihi, goal. Everybody has some aspiration. They want to achieve some goal. Uh, if a small kid, if you ask them what is your goal, he will say, I want to play. And what is not your goal? Study. No study. You just want to play. What are other goals? I want to hit by this stone that honeycomb. So they will make their targets. They make their goal. That depends on consciousness. And as the child grow, goal increase or goals changes. They want girl or girl wants boy. Then after money, because they realize it is money that attracts the boy or the girl, so let us go for money. And then they go for job because one gets money by doing some job, and they realize for doing job some education is required. Then they will go for education. So they are making different goals, but the main force that drives them is enjoying mentality. Therefore, as in the purport Prabhupada was explaining, internal potency and external potency, Krishna has created living entities who can either be driven by internal potency or external potency. The choice is in the hands of the living entities. And because we have from time immemorial uh, being conditioned by the external potency of the Lord, it is very difficult for us to switch to the internal potency. This is what requires some endeavor. And therefore, in the second chapter of first canto, this very chapter, there was the process of sadhana bhakti described, which starts from Satam Kripa, mercy of the great souls, and then Sadhu Sangha, then Shraddha, then Bhajan Kriya. This is the explanation of 14 stages by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Jiva Goswami has given the 9 stages. Uh, Sadhu Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Bhajan Kriya, like that. And they all depend on two most important things, that is Shravan and Kirtan. Shravan Kirtan will help purify the heart, and Shravan Kirtan we have to do from realized soul. So, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is more or less an overall answer to the previous chapter, because it was asked in the 6 questions by the sages, what is for ultimate, what is the ultimate benefit for the people in Kali Yuga, and in this Kali Yuga how will they do spiritual progress, because Krishna is not present. So second chapter is in a way summarized answer to the first chapter, and one by one Sutta Goswami is establishing ultimate dharma, savay pumsam paro dharma, yato bhakti adhokshaja. He says ultimate dharma is to do bhakti of adhokshaja. So adhokshaja is a unique name. It's more like a quality than a name of a person. Adhokshaja is name, but this name is more with respect to quality. Adhokshaja means adhak krita akshaja yasya. Srila Prabhupada in one of the lectures says adhak krita means minimized. One, a person or a thing which our senses cannot understand, or that thing minimizes our senses capacity to understand itself. That is adhakrita. Senses are minified. So Lord is transcendental, and our senses are minimized by his transcendental potency to approach him. Therefore, he is adhokshaja. We cannot approach him with our senses. So in that verse it was written adhokshaja, but here in this verse clearly it is told Vasudeva, Vasudeva. And then in the previous also it was written Hari Toshanam Atah Pumbirduja Sreshta Varnashrama Vivasaga Swanishthitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Hari Toshanam. So clearly, so this is the difference between Krishna speaking about himself and devotees is speaking about Krishna. Krishna, when he speaks in Bhagavad Gita, sometimes he will see that supreme to serve him, and then he will also reveal, I am, serve me. And then devotees understand. So in the previous verse, when Krishna was referring to that supreme, And in these verses, he is telling to surrender to me. That means that supreme and this Krishna, they are the same. They are not separate. So sometimes Krishna will address as a third party. Himself he will address as third person, and sometimes directly to me. Bhagavatam from first verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. No doubt about who is the supreme personality of Godhead. There is direct address to Krishna, and similarly in this verse also direct address to Vasudeva, that he is the para can mean ultimate, para can mean beyond, para can mean transcendental, and in the current context with every word when para is used, Prabhupada has made the different meanings. So para Veda means ultimate object to be understood by reading the scriptures. Paramukha means ultimate object of sacrifice. Para yoga means the personality who is to be ultimately realized by doing the yoga. As it was explained in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, that yogasanas help one to realize Paramatma aspect, and if that itself is very difficult, but if one realizes Paramatma aspects successfully, then he may realize Vasudeva aspect, and therefore Para Yoga is Vasudeva. Kriya, fruitive activities. In the translation, Prabhupada doesn't explain separately Kriya in the purport, but in the translation he says that the purpose of all fruitive activities is ultimately to satisfy Lord. Then Jnana, Srila Prabhupada elaborates from that 13th chapter 8 to 12th verse. Amanitvam, Adambhitvam, Ahimsa, Shanti Marjavam, Acharya Pasanam, Socham, what is that? Acharya Pasanam, Socham, Atma Vinigraha, like that it says. Stharyam Atma Vinigraha, Indriyarthesu Vairagyam, Anhamkaram Evacha, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Asaktiranabhishwangha putradara grihadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu. These are some of the items of knowledge. Amanitvam, pridelessness, adambhidvam, without duplicity, ahimsa, non-violence, shanti rajajavam, simplicity and tolerance, acharya pasanam, approaching the spiritual master, swacham, cleanliness, tharyam, self-control and steadfastness, indriyarthesu vairagyam, anahankara evacha, becoming free from false ego and detached from sense gratification, and inquiring about solutions for the real problems of life, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, realizing their miseries occurring due to these four real problems of life, and then detachment from family, home, wife, children, nityam cha samachittatam ishtanishtopapatishu, detachment from desirable, undesirable, honor, dishonor, this type of dualities. And then Krishna says, Maicha ananyogena bhakti avyavicharini vivikta desha savitvam aratir jana samsadi. That he is more or less detached from the worldly matters and worldly aratir jana samsadi, and he says, Maicha ananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini, is consistently, continuously, without vyabhichar, doing my bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada in the purport catches this thing, that in these 18 items of knowledge also, Acharya Pasanam and Bhaktir Avyabhicharini, these are the two most important things. The other items will follow. That means for these 18 items also, the two items are most vital: approaching spiritual master and doing Avyabhichari Bhakti. Then the other things will follow: Adhyatma Gyan, Tattva Gyanartha Darshanam. That means developing a philosophical mindset, Tattva Gyanartha Darshanam, and attraction for spiritual knowledge. These are a part of 18 items of knowledge. And Krishna clearly says, Ajnanam yadato anyatha. Apart from these 18 items, everything is ajnan, ignorance. So, para jnana, Vasudeva para jnana, like that it was mentioned in this sloka by Suta Goswami. And Prabhupada explains that what is jnana, it is already explained nicely in Bhagavad Gita. So Vasudeva para, so in this jnana, Krishna is already giving himself that My bhakti is also a part of Gyan, and Prabhupada says not just the part of Gyan, it is the most important thing in the Gyan. In this way, Gyan and then Tapa, austerity, Srila Prabhupada gives the example of uh, Devaki and Vasudev. Devotees also do austerity, demons also do austerity. And those who are both devotional and demoniac combined, they also do austerity. So when our austerities are for the pleasure of Krishna, they are devotional austerities. When our austerities are pleasure of our own senses, these are demoniac austerity. Where recently in Jagannath Puri, so in 2018 Puri Yatra, Kartik Yatra, there His Holiness Raghunath Maharaj Kartik Yatra. Uh, when we were going to the classes and while returning, some shopkeepers were selling sweet corn. So in 2017, that desire seed was generated. Someday in Puri, I will taste this sweet corn. And this is 2026, almost 9 years later. So first, recently when we went to Puri, this 2nd and 3rd of May. So second, we went for Jagannath Darshan in the evening, and while returning, we saw again. I saw that shopkeeper, that thela wala selling sweet corn. The desire seed got watered, and I felt that I should take. Then I thought, no, no, everybody is too tired. Tomorrow I should give shape to this desire. This is not the right time. And in Puri, devotees have some license that if they can offer it to Jagannath in some informal way if it is offerable, and then take. So this idea was there, this license. So next day, the shopkeeper was not there. In the evening, we were searching for 45 minutes. Where is the sweet corn shopkeeper? And after doing such hard work, I was thinking what I am doing in Puri Dham. I am doing an austerity for satisfying the tongue. Hi, hi, Dhik Mam, what that, who was that Vairagya Shatakam author? Bhartirari, he has written that, na, Dhik Imam cha, like that he says, Dhik Imam cha, like that. Dhik Mam, I was thinking that, hi, hi, to hell with me, to hell with the sweet corn, and to hell with this material attraction, the enjoying mentality, to hell with this entire episode of 45 minutes searching. But finally, we settled with Pani Puri. But point is, when our austerities take us towards Krishna, then they are actually spiritual austerity that is meant for the pleasure of Vishnu. And so this is the danger. Here the word Kriya Prabhupada translates as fruitive activities. Fruitive activities generally Prabhupada explains in the translation that it should be done for the pleasure of Krishna. So what happens when it is not done for Krishna? It first starts with non-sinful personal desires. We think that these are not sinful desires, let me fulfill it. But if we are not careful, it may turn into non-sinful, undesirable things. Means it may not be sinful, but we may be doing something which we don't want. For example, we may uh, start with seeing something desirable in the phone, but after something which is not sinful, then again we may start seeing something which is not sinful, but which is not even my desire. We are just scrolling. Then comes the dangerous state which starts with sinful. That is sinful, desirable. We don't discriminate basically that this is not a right desire and it is a sinful desire. So when we start giving full freedom to all the senses, and then fall happens. Therefore, kamya karma is very risky. It can take us to nisiddha karma. We should therefore be mostly focused with nitya karma or services. Nitya karma basically means services. Kamya karma means non-sinful, desirable things, like a desire to learn lot of musical instruments. It's a non-sinful desire, but we may get carried over. If 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 I get carried over by this, instead of doing kirtan for the pleasure of Hari, I may be doing kirtan for pleasure of my own ego, and then entire thing is spoiled. The purpose is spoiled. Therefore, Prabhupada defines, because these are very important interactions everybody has with the material world. Everybody wants knowledge, they want to do some sacrifice, they are looking for some connection, yoga, activities, knowledge, austerities we are doing, and some religiosity is there. And everybody has some goal. Now, these are 8 interactions everybody is having in this world, and Srimad Bhagavatam, acting as the topmost authority, is establishing Vasudeva. He is your ultimate Veda, ultimate Makha, ultimate Yoga, Kriya, Jnana, Tapa, Dharma, and Gati. It should not be compromised at all. And one time a boy was asking me, Prabhu, you are telling us Bhagavad Gita says Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita. It's a circular reasoning. I am writing a book and telling in the book all other books are inferior, and in the book it is written I am only the most ultimate personality. So what is this? So Vedas are highest authority. It has to be justified by the Vedas only. If there is some third thing that justifies Vedas as the highest authority, then that second thing basically becomes the higher authority than the Vedas. That means, if, like for example, Nyaya Shastra uses logic to convey or establish Vedic truths, but conveying truth or establishing truth is not same as creating truth. Truth exists irrespective of functioning or non-functioning of the logic or the Nyaya reason. There are things, so we can understand in this way that logic or Nyaya helps our limited intelligence to access transcendence or divinity or Krishna, who is unlimited and transcendentally unlimited. So logic may help one establish Vedas, like we use the word Shabda Praman and establish it against Pratyaksh Hanuman. And in Jiva Goswami writes in Tattva Sandarbha, it is explained that there are more than many there are many types of pramanas. Vaishnava acharyas have jotted down 10 out of them, and in that 10 types of pramanas, the three are the most significant: Pratyaksha, Anuman, and Shabda. And in that, Shabda holds the maximum authority, and therefore Vedas are supreme. Now, this Praman, every parampara has their own understanding. Buddhists have their own understanding of what is to be accepted as Praman. Praman means Prama and Praman means knowledge and instruments of knowledge. And they also define through the Praman how much the knowledge can be understood. Like Buddhism or in some religion, they will say that in some parampara that absolute truth cannot be understood more than this. Means more than understanding that absolute truth is impersonal, this capacity is not there. This knowledge doesn't exist only, that absolute truth can be something higher. So they are limiting basically. So this kind of logic doesn't work, because with the help of logic one may establish the Vedas, but that doesn't mean what Vedas are giving can always be easy to establish by logic, because Vedic knowledge is beyond logic and Nyaya. Therefore, when Vedas are telling something, we have to re-establish that with the help of Vedas, not some secondary sources. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is written by an incarnation of God in the form of Srila Vyasadeva, and he is establishing his own self. That is Vasudeva Paravats. And this is not circular reasoning, it is the most authentic version. Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Puran, and when it is telling us that Vasudeva Para is a supreme object of worship, it is the supreme object of worship, whether or not Nyaya, Tarka. In fact, Vedanta Sutra, there is a verse, it says, Tarka apratishthanaat api anyatha anupmeyam iti chet na evam api anirmoksha prasanga. It means that if it is argued that even though logic is inconclusive, reality may still be inferred otherwise. No. because this would result in impossibility of attaining final liberation. In simple words, it means tarko apratishthanad. Tarka itself has no basis; it can change. Tarko apratishtha sutayo vibhinna nasa munirasya matam na bhinna धर्मस्य तत्व निहितो गुहाय महाजनो येन गतः sapantha. Therefore, one who has either God or one who has realized God, that is something we can attain from God or that person who has realized God. Therefore, there is no higher authority than Shastra or those who are in the line of Shastra, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. It's like if I have experience of God, a person who doesn't have experience of God, he has no way to understand this without surrendering to the person who has experienced God. So Vedas are like mother, and no authority can be greater than the mother to direct towards the father. If someone is a greater authority than the mother, then mother's validity becomes inferior to that. So Vedas, Srimad Bhagavatam, is establishing that supreme personality of Godhead is Sri Krishna, and that has to be accepted as it is. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Shankha, and the Shankha is a bone, conch shell is a bone, and it is pure. When we blow the conch shell, it is a sign of auspiciousness. But the bone of an ordinary animal, dead animal, if we happen to touch it, it is said that we get contaminated. We have to take bath. We don't have the logic or nyaya or the eyes to see the contamination, but it has to be accepted as it is. If it is contaminated according to Vedas, we should take bath, or it is contaminated. There is no debate about it. They similarly, the stool of any animal, if it is contaminating, there is stool of cow, it is purifying. How is it purifying? How is it contaminating? Whether or not logic or nyaya does it has to be accepted because Vedas are highest authority. So that's what this verse is telling. Thank you very much. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि श्रील प्रभुपाद